How about them Browns? Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Hey, we're the Fanatical Elfz Network. This is your host, Johnny Cleveland, John Suchan here, hosting tonight. We might have a few other guys join us, but I'm going solo at the moment as we reflect back on, yes, the Browns actually did it. They actually won the game as they defeated the Baltimore Ratbirds 29-24. And Jameis Winston, Ken Dorsey come alive, creates something we haven't seen in Cleveland all season. Wonder why. We can talk about that another day. What we're going to focus on today is the Browns won, and they deserve the win. And a lot of people have also been pointing to Jim Donovan, the passing of Jim Donovan, a great broadcaster radio guy here for the Brownies, who passed away on Saturday, age of 68. Won this game. The Browns did for him. His legend. You know, I didn't realize that he has been quarterbacking for a bazillion years, 25 years. He's been a long-standing sportscaster on Channel 3 up there in Cleveland. You know, whatever it was, and I've seen some comments about that last play of the play before Winston went deep to Cedric Tillman to put them up with a winning 38-yard touchdown. The play before that, or the two plays before that, he threw what looked like an interception to the Baltimore Ratbirds, and for some reason, the Ratbird dropped it. Thank you, Jim Donovan, or thank you for whomever. Jim, I know, like, you know, this is one of the things as Browns fans, we know, especially if you've been a fan for many years, decades, like me and some of the guys here on the Fanatical Elfz, you can't explain some things, and we'll just leave it at that. The Browns did so many good things. I'll just start with this, with Jameis Winston. I know some of you will start, you know, hey, you know, because basically what I'm gonna say is, you know, Winston made a huge difference. And many Browns fans are screaming that today. Now, some of you who are lodged down and you're hard-nosed, you're going to say, oh, well, it was Ken Dorsey and the play calling, and thank God we got rid of Kevin Stefanski play calling. But Kevin Stefanski had Joe Flacco last year, and look what they did together. So don't tell me all this stuff about it was all Stefanski's terrible play calling. Winston had 8 throws in this game that for 15 yards or more. 8 throws for 15 yards or more. Deshaun Watson had 9 in 7 games. 9. Winston had 8 in 1 game. We have been screaming this. Commentators who watch the game, radio analysis guys watching the game. Watson can't. He was seeing ghosts. He can't do it anymore. He can't see that. And Winston, you know, he was executing. He was doing the plays like they've been called. And yes, Dorsey was calling the plays, but those plays were being called by Stefanski of Dorsey's plays. So whatever it is, fine. Dorsey's calling the plays. Great. Shout out to Ken Dorsey. Shout out to Kevin Stefanski. It was probably a different role for him today. There was a little sequence at the end of the game that was rather unique. I don't know. He was in his headpiece, and what's his face, the special teams coach Bubba Fatrone, tried to come up behind him, and Stefanski kind of shoot him away. Kind of annoying. I'm anxious, wondering what that conversation was about. Anywho, so many things to look at in this game. Yes, the Browns are still 2 wins and 6 losses. Yes, this season is probably done, but stranger things have happened, and the fact is that we got to win against the freaking Ratbirds who stole our team. So whenever you can get a win in the AFC North, if it's against the Ratbirds or the Squealers or the Bungles, we love it, because that's what Browns fans, you know, that's where we pour our heart and energy into this team. So it was really awesome to see all the goodness that came out of that. I didn't know. I mean, it was back and forth. Browns kind of had good momentum, good control. They kind of lost it at the beginning of the at the end of the first half. They gave up a touchdown after Winston fumbled the ball, had a strip sack. Not real good there, but They were able to get it back. They got the ball back at the beginning of the second half, and they scored a touchdown, and they took the lead again. Just stuff we hadn't seen. Then they crossed the 20-point threshold. We hadn't seen the Browns score 20 points. Congratulations to the Browns for doing that. And then they got another field goal, and then they got another touchdown at the end. They scored 29 points. And the thing is folks, when you know this as Browns fans, you talk to anybody else that follows other teams, or I have a lot of friends who are Kansas City Chiefs fans and stuff, or even Squealer fans who say, man, who do you got quarterbacking now? Like, they all see it, folks. If you're a Browns fan, you're stuck in the mud and you're like, oh, well, Deshaun Watson. Listen, if I will scream to the hilt, Browns fans we're not going to put up with it. Watson, bless his heart, hope he recovers from his torn Achilles. But if he takes that field again, Browns fans will again boo, shout, do all these things. They don't want it. They're done with it. Like, move on. Winston won a game, and he's going to win more games for the Browns. So let's move forward with positivity. What has happened with this organization over the last 3 years has been god awful. Putting all that god awful money guaranteeing money toward a guy that it's not the same player that he used to be in Houston. And there's a lot of reasons for that, and we're not going to talk about it today. But let's applaud Jameis Winston. The guy went over 300 yards passing. I'll get out the stats here in a minute. He threw, 3 touchdowns? 2? 3? 3? The Browns had 400 yards of offense. 400 yards of offense. Just amazing stuff. Nick Chubb, 15 carries, 14 carries for 50-some yards. He had a 15-yard carry, looked like the old Nick Chubb. He was pushing the pile forward many times. Baltimore's got a really good, stout rushing defense. Browns, I think, ended up with about 85 or 90 yards rushing. They didn't get over 100 yards, but they did a lot of good things there. They did stymie Chubb many times, but Chubb did get off a lot of good quantities of carries. He got 15 carries. Congratulations to Nick Chubb. He passed Mike Pruitt on the all-time Browns rushing list. He is now third place, only behind Leroy Kelly, and then one Jim Brown. Very exciting stuff there. Let me pull up the statistics on this game. Good stuff, folks. Good stuff. We'll have a Victory Monday show tomorrow. We'll have Stirring the Pot show with Lou Marconi and myself. We'll have the Dog Pound South show with Steve Gill. Let me look here. Pulling up the old stats. Let me, before we do that, I want to get this pushed out. Hopefully Sarah, who got our tickets for the Browns when we gave away those tickets earlier in the week, enjoyed her time there at the stadium. Stadium looked pretty packed still for a 1-6 team. I think a lot of people were interested in seeing what Jameis Winston could do in this game, so congratulations to him. God, let's see here. Where are we at? Okay. Do this and that and the other thing. All right. We got Noah Olson. I know Noah Olson is East Bank Sports Show. He'll be coming up with a couple of shows this week. Sam the man down there in Dallas, he'll have his Browns breakdowns. Jarrell Flint, hopefully we'll be doing a dog radio show soon as well. Let's see here. A lot of good things to talk about in this game. As Browns fans, we just don't, the last time we played Baltimore was last year in Baltimore, and that was the game where Watson did decide to show up, and he was making some really good decisions. Unfortunately, then he broke his what did he break? His shoulder in that game, so that was a little bit upsetting last year. Let's look here. Just pulling up some different stats here. Well, now it's Victory Monday. We haven't been able to celebrate many Victory Mondays, so this will be good for all of you. If you want to take the day off from work tomorrow, I've been giving the okay at my work. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see here. It's funny, Jameis Winston. he's kind of one of those funny characters. You know, you see there's been a lot of stuff that's made fun of him, memes made of him. But then, like when he gets to do these interviews, he's on like CBS and stuff. He tries to be like too serious, but then he kind of loosens up a little bit when he's doing these Browns press conferences. He's an interesting cat, man. He is like all over the place, which is okay. You know, he's kind of a loose cannon, kind of an A personality. Let's look here. Oh, I'm still trying to pull up okay, here we go. All right, so Jameis Winston went 27 for 41 for 334 yards and the 3 touchdowns, and his quarterback rating was 115. He was sacked twice. Some people said, well, was he sacked? Yeah, he got strip sacked at the end of the first half that led to a Ratbirds touchdown. You know, if you think about that, if they don't turn the ball over there, maybe we're not even in this position where they had to come back and win it. But we'll talk about that here in a moment. Nick Chubb, 16 carries for 52 yards, a 3.3 average, nothing fantastic. Had a run of 15 yards. He had several carries that he got pushed back, lost a yard or two. You know, the Ratbirds have a strong defense when it comes against the run, so good. Foreman had 5 carries for 26 yards. Now, here's the other thing that I thought was very interesting. Of the 27 passes that Deshaun Watson completed, 20 of them came against or were to his wide receivers. So, Cedric Tillman, amazing day, career day for the youngster from Tennessee. 7 catches, 99 yards, 14-yard average, 2 touchdowns, including the game winner. Elijah Moore, 8 carries. Yeah, that one, Elijah Moore, who seemingly was lost. What happened to him? I'll tell you what happened to him. They got a competent quarterback who wasn't seeing ghosts, and they were able to hit these guys on time in progressions because their quarterback knew what he was doing. Elijah Moore, 8 carries, 85 yards. Jerry Jeudy, who was throwing his helmet around and everything last week, he had 5 catches for 79 yards. Throw in David Njoku, 5 catches for 61 yards, including a really nice touchdown catch. Good job to him. Tillman had the 2 touchdown passes to himself. The one was a little skinny post right up the gut there in the first end of the beginning of the third quarter that he scored. So good job to him. Browns had, I think, 3 sacks in the game. Myles Garrett almost got one of those interceptions off of a tip. They were really creating some havoc for Lamar Jackson. I think our colleague Steve Gill was talking a lot about that in our pregame and off the air, saying how the Browns have done a good job of getting into Lamar Jackson's head. And that's kind of what we saw. Now, Lamar Jackson, that play late in the game where they kind of went down the field and they scored the go-ahead touchdown when they had the ball back down at like the 8 or 9 yard line. There was holdings all over the place. The referees were doing everything in their power to give the game to Baltimore. It was very obvious again that the ball that is the fix in is the NFL. What's going on there? I mean, there's some opportunities there where just I know the holdings on practically every play, but when it's so obvious and you're not calling it. So anyhow, Lamar goes down. They score the touchdown. They go up 24-23 with what? Was it just under 2 minutes? Right around 2 minutes. It was just over 2 minutes. The Browns got the ball back. Steady as could be. They march down the field. Winston almost throws the interception. Oh man. I was at a sports bar here locally up in Columbus, or down here in Columbus, because a little side story here. Columbus idiots on the local affiliate here in CBS decided to show the Bungles game instead of the Browns game. Thank you very much, CBS affiliate. There are far more Browns fans in the Columbus area than there are Bungles fans. I just want you all know that. You guys are morons for doing that. So I had to go to a sports bar to watch the game. Usually, I have some other things that we got to do tonight, so I couldn't go to the game. Anywho, go to a sports bar. That last play where he almost threw the interception, I mean, the gasp, and I'm sure the gasp was the same at the stadium, was just Like, how did that guy just drop that interception? The ball literally hit the guy in the hands, had it, drop, and then it was like on slow motion. You're like, how in the hell did he drop it? I put my head down, just like, oh my God. Anywho, he drops it. A couple plays later, or was it the next play? He throws that nice pass to Tillman. Oh my God. How Baltimore lets the Tillman get by him on the outside or beyond him was beyond me. It was good to see. Obviously, and you're thinking, oh God, don't drop it. He was so wide open. And that was down in the end zone that I usually have my tickets in section 544. Sometime if you buy the Browns game, come by 544 in the future and say hi to us. Anyhow, then Baltimore gets the ball with a minute to go. And of course, Lamar Jackson, the Browns are doing everything. Lamar Jackson is dancing, trying to find things. But to the Browns' defensive credit, they got the ball down to like the 20 to 25 yard line, and Lamar had 3 chances to hit people in the end zone, and the Browns defense stood tall and stopped them amazingly, and the clock ran out, and the Browns won. So now the Browns are 2 wins, 6 losses. They have the San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers. I said that on purpose. The Chargers coming to Cleveland next week. And if they can win that game, and you never know, but if they can pull that win out, they'll be 3-6 going into the bye. After the bye, they go out to New Orleans to play the Saints. And then I believe they have a home game the following week against the Squealers on a Thursday night affair. So there's a lot to work on. Stefanski's his conversation in the locker room, the players was to really work. And if this team can buy into that and take one step at a time, one game at a time, the Browns, listen, this is a playoff team. They were a playoff team a year ago. This is basically the same group, and they've unfortunately had a lot of missteps. Notice that there weren't a lot of penalties at all. Our third down efficiency was amazing on offense. I think we completed 8 third down conversions. We never saw any of that with Watson. Penalties were way down. We had a few, but nothing like it has been. So good to the Browns coaching staff on getting most of that corrected. DeJuan Jones played at left tackle and did a lot of good things. I think he jumped maybe once. But that's where he played at Ohio State. I feel much more comfortable with him on the left side. Jan Conklin was over there on the right, did some really good things. People have been talking about, well, what's the difference? Was it Dorsey? Was it Wyatt Teller being back? Was it Winston? Folks, come on. If you're a Browns fan and you pay any attention to what's going on, and I know there's some hard-nosed Browns fans, and I keep saying this already, but listen, man, it's not rocket science here. Watson was a shell of himself when he played with the Browns. He was. We all know this. He can't, and I'm sorry that he got injured, but with Winston in there, at least you give the Browns an opportunity to win some games the rest of the season. We were being pointed out too that, the Browns offense was on the field for good durations and gave the defense some time off. They weren't pressing as much. Now, one of the players that got hurt on the Browns defense was JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Prayers to him. He hit Derrick Henry very hard, and he bounced off of him. It sounds like it was some type of neck injury, but I understand that he has all of can move all his extremities. Hopefully he will be okay moving forward. So, but that was a big loss. But considering the Browns were down him, they were down Denzel Ward, who was also in concussion protocol. Look, Denzel Ward, I love the guy, but if he goes if he had another concussion, like we suspect, that would be like the 8th or 9th documented one. And I don't know. You look at players like Tua down there in Miami who came back today, and, the Dolphins played better, but of course they lost the bitter end. Tua should not be playing quarterback anymore. He should retire from the NFL. That's just these guys who had these concussions, they're going to be, their brains are going to be mush. Even if they keep playing years from now, it's just sad because they need to take care of their bodies and their brains. And these guys don't understand because they're too young that what they're doing to themselves. Because when you get into our age group, 50s, 60s, and 70s, all of that stuff catches up to you. So I know they're trying to play through it and be athletic and be a guy and rough and tough and be a football player, but it doesn't always work that way. I had written an article or two for Fans First and for Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders. Looked at some of the different things that were important in this game. One of them was Jameis Winston. Could he get the Browns offense going and give them a spark? And he certainly did. 334 yards. He passed 8 times for 15 yards or more, which was only one less than Deshaun Watson had done in the entire 7 games that he played this season. So I had mentioned that earlier, but it's worth noting because Winston was executing. He was going to the second level. He was seeing guys in these zones or in these coverages that Watson just, for whatever reason, was hesitant and would not release the ball. We're not going to see that any longer, and Winston should be the guy moving forward. If he can be successful and, knock on wood, stay healthy, every game the Browns will have an opportunity. That Browns defense is always going to be there and ready to go. They got some luck today when that guy dropped the interception. No doubt about it. A little bit of luck, a little bit of Jimmy Donovan probably above giving the Browns just that little extra something that's, you can't explain it. So Browns go on and win. Let's pause for a quick break here on the Fanatical Elfz Network. This is our post-game show. I'll be right back after this. Hey, thanks for listening to us. I changed music on you. Did you hear that? Okay, we'll just keep this going. So we got a busy week ahead. Obviously, Victory Monday tomorrow. We want to thank our sponsors, Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. If you go to our link on the X page and click on there and buy some coffee, you will get 15% back, which would be awesome to support our programming here on the Fanatical Elfz and Fans First Sports. All these guys, like I was mentioning earlier, Dog Pound South show coming up with Steve Gill. We'll have a Victory Monday show. We'll have Stirring the Pot show all tomorrow. East Bank Sports show with Noah Olson, Jarrell Flint. Who am I missing? Rod Bloom with his Browns Blitz. Everybody will be joining this week. So tune in, listen to all of that. We are excited that the Browns won this week. We might even have a giveaway later this week. So stay tuned for that if you follow us on the X. And hopefully Sarah, like we mentioned, had a good time using our tickets to this game. Well, folks, we got the Chargers on deck. A lot of things coming up. And we really appreciate you staying with us. We'll be providing you more coverage this week. Spread the love. Spread the words. Tell people about the Fanatical Elfz Network. I'm telling you, I work at a school, and someday, I run into people every day from, colleagues and students who have an interest in the Browns. Let them know about the Fanatical Elfz. Just got a great group of contributors here. So we also write for Fans First, so pay attention to all that. Browns win today against the Baltimore Ratbirds. Yep, they did it. They won 29-24. Jameis Winston goes for 334 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Can't wait to see what happens next week as they take on the Los Angeles Chargers. I think the Browns fan base is rejuvenated. Thanks very much to everybody who had tuned in tonight. Listen to us on Apple, on Spotify, and we'll talk to you next time. Go Browns! Take care, everybody.